see here. We'll get on to the official account. See if we can't find the stream. Hopefully it isn't too far away. Scroll down. There it is there. Stream's up. Well, it's loading. Still loading. Come on. There we are. Yeah, audio is working as it should. Stream's up, chat's up, we're all good to go. That's absolutely fantastic. Hello everyone and welcome to round 11 of the PlayStation Pacific Tier 1 Championship here on Race Spec Esports. I'm Lane Everingham, your commentator for this event, and this time we're racing at Circuit Paul Ricard for the French Grand Prix. Constructed near the town of Le Castellet in 1969, Circuit Paul Ricard is a 5.84 kilometre, 15-turn racetrack that has been hosting Formula 1 Grand Prix since 1971. The most unique characteristic about this circuit is the incredible amount of runoff area surrounding the racetrack. Certainly makes it look like a tarmac lake, but with all the runoff area, it also makes it one of the safest circuits in the world. It's quite difficult to find yourself in the barrier after having an accident, but let me assure you from my experiences, it's definitely not impossible. The circuit also consists of two DRS zones that lead down the main straight into turn 1 and down the Mistral straight into turn 8. These two areas will prove to be the main overtaking spots on the circuit. Now before we focus on this qualifying session here, there is a bit of news to go through first from last week's race in Mexico. There were 3 incident reports, the first involving Carmen and Gilles, an incident during a safety car period, and the steward's verdict was a 5-second time penalty and 1 penalty point for Gilles for overtaking during safety car conditions. Another incident that involved Plevs, Leo and Ferrari Pro, the verdict from that was a 5-second time penalty and 1 penalty point for GeForce Leo. And the final incident involving Spicy and Ferrari Pro at turn 16 that we saw on stream. The verdict from that is a 5-second time penalty and 1 penalty point for Ferrari Pro, as we kind of expected from the incident. This will move F1 Ferrari Pro from P3 to P8 and Gilles from P8 to P11 in the final finishing results. Leo's result remains unchanged because, well, he retired during the race. In the Drivers' Championship, GeForce Ford is leading the way on 253 points, followed by GeForce Crichton on 236, 17 points, separating the top 2 in the championship, with Spicy in P3 on 140. He is 96 points behind Crichton and 113 behind Ford. It's well and truly a 2-horse race now between Ford and Crichton for the Drivers' Championship. Plebs is 4th on 137, equal 5th actually, with GeForce Leo also on 137 points, and just 7 points behind them is I Contrast in P6. P7 is Spilly on 117, followed by Ferrari Pro on 83, Darren 11 on 73, and GeForce Wogboy on 59. In the Constructors, Ferrari are leading on 304, followed by McLaren on 277, then Mercedes AMG on 257. There's a fairly decent sized gap between Mercedes and Alpine. Alpine are currently sitting on 178 points. Alpha Tauri is next on 148, followed by Alfa Romeo on 132. They're currently equal 7th with Red Bull, also on 132. Williams are next on 115, followed by Haas on 98, and at the bottom of the table, Aston Martin on 34 points. Yeah, quite right, Caterpillar. Not a massive group of drivers tonight. And hello, ACW and KD. Nice to have you both in the chat as well. Only 14 cars for tonight's race. Not exactly the biggest attendance you've ever seen. But you still have a high quality amount of drivers here in the field. So hopefully we still get plenty of action out on track. Darren 11 jumping to the top with a 30.4. And this is where I usually introduce my co-commentator, who is GeForce Pato. He is here, he is in the session, but he's currently got a bit of work to do. So he's unable to join just yet. Hopefully he will in a few moments' time. Got drivers coming around, completing their first flying laps. As I mentioned before, Darren 11 setting the fastest time with a 30.4. Ferrari Pro making his way out to the final corner and down the main straightaway. And McLaren's going to finish a lap. It is GeForce Leo, a 29.9, as Ferrari Pro goes third quickest with a 30.6. Spicy, Leo's teammate, jumps up to P2 with a 30.3, as GeForce Ford goes to the top with a 29.8. And Crichton, after his horrendous race at Mexico, will be looking to strike back here at Paul Ricard. He'll cross the line to set a 30 flat. He is currently 2/10 of GeForce Ford, who is currently on pole position. World Boy on the flying lap making his way around turn 10, the flat out right-hander. Well, it's flat out in the dry in wet weather conditions. It's definitely not flat. Actually turns into one of the most difficult corners on the racetrack. Out of turn 11 and into the tricky turn 12. Very long sweeper, reducing radius, which means, as Wogboy demonstrated there quite well, you have to take quite a late apex. You leave a nice wide line at the entry of the corner, then you bring it in narrow right at the end of the corner to try and carry as much speed around turn 12 as possible. Now heading down the main straightaway up towards the line. It's a 30.7 from Wogboy. He goes P7 with that time. Someone's just completed the lap. I think it was Vengeance, a 30.5. Plebs will cross the line at 31.6. That's not competitive from Plebs. He must have made a mistake on that lap, surely. Is that Kush beginning a flying lap? Making his way into turn 3. Might ride on board, give you a tour. Around turn 4, into turn 5. Fourth gear, nice and gentle on the accelerator. Now around the tricky complex of turn 6 and turn 7. Turn 7 is a flat-out left-hander. Turn 6, it's very important that you get turn 6 right. It will dictate how much speed you carry down the Mistral straight and into the best overtaking spot on the circuit. Turn 8, down through the gears, down to 4th as he goes around turn 9. Nice run there. Plenty of wheel spin on the exit, but I do believe that's just a glitch. I think he's doing okay in terms of throttle modulation and not just stomping the throttle, though I could be wrong. Around turn 10, up towards turn 11, this double apex right-hander. You take an early apex, as Izzat has demonstrated, and you take a late apex, trying to carry as much speed on the exit as you head into turn 12. You see that nice wide line at the entry and nice and narrow at the apex. Around turn 13 now, the right-hander into the left-hander of turn 14, and then the final corner, turn 15, this tight right-hand hairpin. Personally, one of my least favourite corners in all of Formula 1. I really do not like that turn at all. Very tricky in these cars especially. Izzat jumps to P2, missing out on pole position by, how much is that? That is 18 thousandths of a second. Not much at all. Someone's just jumped up, I think. I might be wrong, but I think somebody jumped up. As Luke makes his way around turn 11. One of 3 drivers yet to set a lap time in this session. Up towards turn 12, 6th gear. Brings it back down to 3rd gear. Back on the accelerator nice and gently. Short shifted up to 4th. He's trying to find traction and power at the exit of turn 12. Into turn 14, you have to hug the inside all the way round so you can open up the final corner. He's carrying 3rd gear, not bothering to use 2nd. Then up through the gearbox, up towards the line for Luke. It's a 30.5. P7 right in the middle of the board. Not too bad there from Luke. Not too bad at all. Vision getting ready. Bags Liddell getting ready as well. Currently P13 and 14. They have not set lap times as of yet. Darren 11 getting ready to set a flying lap. I'll roll you on board with him because I haven't shown you one of the most difficult parts on the circuit. Turns 1 and 2. 5th gear through turn 1. Be careful of turn 2. I cannot overstate that enough. You have to be careful at turn 2. That inside curb is incredibly nasty, especially on the opening lap when you've got drivers going through side by side. That inside curb can unsettle the car quite dramatically, as Darren's having a hard time making his way out of turn 6. That Alfa Romeo looked very slidey at the exit there. Down the Mistral straight towards the chicane. Chucks it into the left-hander, takes it around turn 9. Nice and steady. No hint of oversteer this time around. As he heads down the second part of the Mistral straight into turn 11. Turn 10 rather, as he's 11 thousandths up to the middle sector. So he hasn't found a great deal of time over this lap so far. Will he be pushing to try and find time here in the final sector? And where can he find it? He's making his way around turn 12. He took a slightly earlier apex. Oh, and he tried to compensate at the exit. He got on the throttle far too soon, and the car did not like that one bit. It looks like he's going to try and complete this lap, though. Coming out of the final corner, down the main straightaway. And again, that Alfa Romeo, the back end, does not look planted. Up towards the line for Darren 11, and doesn't improve. Misses out by just under 0.2 of a second. Spicy getting ready. Crichton on a flying lap. Currently P4 with a 30.077. Leo making his way around the circuit. Looked like he was on a flying lap, but he's decided to back out. G-Force Ford making his way towards turn 3. Hard on the brakes. Bring it down to 5th gear. Back on the accelerator. Then down to 4th. Will he bring it down to 3rd here for turn 5? No, he'll keep it in 4th gear. Uses all of the curb on the outside as well at the exit of turn 5. Nice run through 6. Nice run through 7. Now down the Mistral straight. He'll open DRS and prepare himself for the big braking zone at turn 8. Is he braking just after the 100-meter board? Down to 4th gear. And around turn 9, you can see all that inside curb you have to use there at turn 9. You well and truly have to use all of it. Crichton, meanwhile, is up by just over 1/10 of a second. He needs to find more time in this final sector to try and challenge Ford for pole position. Around the penultimate turn, up towards the final one, brings it down to 2nd gear. Does he short shift? Doesn't bother. He uses all of 2nd, all of 3rd. Up through the gears now. Up towards the line for Crichton. Does he take pole away? No, it's P3 with a 29.9. 40 meanwhile. Out of 14, around 15. Very different there at the exit of the final corner. You saw Crichton use 2nd gear all the way around the final corner. 40 short shifted up to 4th, and look at that. He improves by a very nice 69 thousandths of a second. Sets a 1 minute 29.799. Isaac Kush out of turn 2, using all of that outside curb available to him. 40 gets well and truly out of the way. Well done there. Into turn 3, then turn 4, down to 4th gear. Will he use 3rd here? No, a lot of good drivers keen to keep it in 4th gear through turn 5. Nice and planted. That Haas looks pretty stable and looks fast too. So I believe Plevs has jumped up to P8, I believe. That was Plevs with a 30.4. Through turn 8, 4th gear. And around turn 9, keeping it in 4th, not bothering to use 3rd. Up towards the middle sector split. What does the clock say for Isaac Kush? It says he's down. 62 thousandths of a second down to the middle sector. Out of turn 10 towards turn 11. Entry speed was 311 kilometers an hour. Apex speed just over 170. Really fast right-hand corner. You're well and truly on the edge of grip there as well. Out of turn 12. Again, the Haas looking very planted. Can he find any time here in this final sector? Can he challenge 40 for pole position? He doesn't have to improve by much, but to find that 10th, it will be very, very difficult to find. Isaac will cross the line and only improve by 16 thousandths of a second. It seems that even 1/10 of a second can look like a mountain to climb. Because that's the margin that Isaac Kush has to close in to try and overtake Ford. Now Ferrari Pro, it appears that he's on a preparation lap, I suppose. He's not using any battery, not pushing the car. Or is he? No, he is pushing the car. He's actually on a flying lap, my mistake. Down the Mistral straight, heading up towards the middle sector split. He first has to negotiate the Mistral chicane. Hard on the brakes, down to 5th gear, down to 4th gear, chucks it in through the left-hander. Carries 3rd gear around the right-hander of turn 9. Back onto the straightaway, up towards the split, and he's up to fair bit as well. 2.5 tenths to the middle sector. He's looking at a low 30 now. He just needs to complete this final sector without making a mistake. Out of turn 11 in 4th gear. Nice run there, using a healthy amount of curb. You see the drivers in the top tiers, they really do use the full width of the circuit. Every millimetre available to them. Around turn 14, not quite hugging it as much as I'd expect, but he's got a tidy run going. No wheel spin whatsoever at the exit of the hairpin. Up towards the line for Ferrari Pro. It's a 30.2 P6 for the Williams driver right there. Nice lap time. Leo getting ready. He's on an out lap. Getting ready to set a flying lap. We've got 2.5 minutes left in qualifying. If he wants to challenge 40 for pole position, he needs to improve by 1.5 tenths on this flying lap. We're right on board with the McLaren driver. We'll see how he fares. Car's coming out of the pits, doing a nice job getting out of the way. Well done. Out to turn 1, through turn 2. Nice tidy run there from Leo. Making sure he keeps at least 2 wheels over the white line. Through turn 3, into turn 4, 4th gear. Will he bring it down to 3rd? No, again, 4th gear. Something to take note of. Carry 4th around turn 4. Turn 5 rather. As he's up by 75,000, so he's found a decent amount of time to the first sector. Can he find any more time in the middle and final sectors? Up towards turn 8. Get on the brakes, bring it down to 5th gear. Keep it in 5th through turn 9. Look at the stability. No wheel spin, no oversteer whatsoever. As he heads up towards the middle sector split, he's actually lost a little bit of time. He's only up now by 59 thousandths of a second. Red Bull getting out of the way, well done there. Through turn 11, 5th gear, short shifting up to 6th. Nice and tidy once again. And around turn 12, nice wide line. Brings it in narrow on the exit. Clips the curb and it unsettles the car. Potentially lost a little bit of time there. Around the penultimate corner, turn 14. Towards the final corner, turn 15, 4th gear. Doesn't bother using 3rd. Nice drive though out of the hairpin. Really nice drive. Up towards the line for Leo. It's a 29.9. That little wiggle at turn 12 cost him far too much. Those are the margins we're dealing with in Tier 1. Those sort of margins. It's quite incredible. 40 getting ready. Is that getting ready? Crichton about to begin his final flying lap in this qualifying session. Crosses the line to... Actually... No, he's just beginning one. Don't know why it suddenly... came up with his previous flying lap. Don't know why it did that. Up towards turn 3. 8th gear down to 5th, down to 4th. Around turn 4. He used a lot of that inside curve. 3rd gear. He's the first driver I've seen that uses 3rd. Short shift to 4th. The back end not cooperating though. As he heads around turn 7 and onto the Mistral straight. Isaac Kush heading up towards turn 3. He gets on the brakes, brings it down to 5th gear. Gets a nice run through 3 and 4. 40 meanwhile is up by 1/10 of a second to the first sector. Crichton out of turn 9, losing the back end, and he spins it into the wall. I reckon he did that deliberately too. I think he could have saved that, but he's frustrated. The car did not cooperate with him at all, so he chucked it into the wall. Into turn 8 and 9 goes Isaac Kush. Getting it through the chicane unscathed. Never mind! He spins. Now that's an accident. Got it out of shape at the exit of 9. Got too eager on the accelerator. His qualifying session is done. Vengeance, he's just finished qualifying. He's done a 29.899. What can 40 do? What will his final lap time look like here at the end of qualifying? Around turn 14. Up towards turn 15. Brings it down to 3rd gear. Clips the apex perfectly. Gets a nice run on the exit. Opens the RS. Up towards the line for Ford. It's a 1 minute 29.580. Improves by just over 0.2 of a second. Hello, Pato.
Hello. Hello.
Nice to have you here. Work out of the way
Finally here. Yeah. All good.
All good now.
I was watching this session just on the TV, but I couldn't participate, of course. But I'm here now. That's what it matters.
That's good. Now, the results from qualifying. 40 puts it on pole by just under 0.3 of a second to Isaac Kush, followed by Vengeance in P3 and Crichton in P4. Leo P5, followed by Spicy in 6th, then Darren 11, Vision, Ferrari Pro and Plebs rounds out the top 10. Wogboy is next, followed by Bags, Liddell, Luke and Hilles. Complete the order in 14th position. The entire field separated by just over 1 second. Not much. Still, it is a bit disappointing that we don't have a bigger field, but it is what it is.
Yeah. It can happen. It can happen just once, sometimes. If it's just a one stand, then it's fine.
Yep, fair enough. But no, it's nice to have you here. Late, but that's okay. It's still nice to have you here. But, Pato, what are your general thoughts about this racetrack here in France?
Well, I generally love driving this track, to be honest, especially on, I mean, first sector on wheel feels really, really nice because it's a really tricky sector and you really need to be careful on acceleration, but still, like many tracks on this game, you really need to be compromised in terms of setup because you need straight line speed, especially in back straight. So sometimes the car can just get a bit sketchy, but in the end, it's not. I mean, it looks like an airport if you see from above this track, but yeah, it doesn't feel like it when you race because the track limits are quite harsh. Not as harsh as Mexico, but still quite unforgiving. And there are some corners which really need a lot of care, especially exit turn 2. Or the traction zone before the first DRS zone, which is turn 7, I think? Turn 6?
Turn 7.
Yeah. And, yeah. The only thing is that the strategy will be quite obvious in this case, even though we have the new tire allocation, because the 2-stop is way too slow around here.
Yeah.
So I think all the drivers are going to go for 1-stop, deciding what to start with, and I've seen a Ferrari in front with mediums already, which is not conventional, let's put it this way.
Yeah, no, 40 electing to start on the medium compound tyre. Interesting. I mean, the leader can try and get away with it. If 40 can get a nice start and then drive away from the rest of the field, he can put himself in a really solid position. Not only that, but if there's an early safety car, like what happened in Elite Series, you can then put yourself in a strong position because the hards can get to the end. So it can work, but you need some things to go your way and you need to drive well and pull away from everyone else. Those behind, you have Isaac Kush on hard tyres, same with Vengeance in P3 and Crichton, 40's championship rival. 17 points separate the two, and there's currently 2 positions separating the 2 drivers as well. So Crichton, he'll be looking to get by Vengeance and Izat as soon as possible. And he's exploring the track limits. He's taking a joker lap at turn 11.
One lap penalty.
Yep. Leo, P5 on mediums. Same with Spicy. Both McLarens are on mediums. Interesting.
Yeah.
Darren's on hards. Vision's on hards. Same with F1 Ferrari Pro. Plebs is on mediums, Wogboy's on hards, Bags is on mediums, and the final 2 drivers, Luke and Hilles, are on hard tyres. So we got 5 on mediums, 9 on the hard tyre. I was fully expecting everyone to be on the hard tyre, to be honest.
Well, I think the mediums, it could be a good choice to start on mediums, especially if you're in the lead, especially because these mediums tend to drop a lot towards the middle of the race, and you want the hards to be as consistent as they can. So basically, if you go for the alternate strategy, it couldn't work this out. But we'll see. We'll see.
All 14 drivers are lined up ready to race. We've got 27 laps in front of us here at Circuit Paul Ricard. We've got 10 red lights. And we're underway here in Le Castellet. It's a nice start from Crichton in P4. Mega start from Plevs. He shoots around the outside, heading towards turn 1. But it's Ford who leads. Is that Cushion second? Crichton trying to fight around the outside of Vengeance at turn 1. That turns to the inside at turn 2. Both cars get through. The advantage goes to the Red Bull. Heading towards turn 3, though. Crichton has the inside line, but he wisely backs out, accepts his fate and takes P4. Through turn 4 we go. Goes the midfield. And around turn 5, down the inside, it's Ferrari Pro on Darren 11. Side by side is everyone else behind as they make their way around turn 6 and into turn 7. Everyone's gotten through unscathed, which is a good thing, but we've still got battles going on during this opening lap. Yeah, look at this. Nice pass there from Plebs down the inside. Although Bags tries to fight back. Coming around turn 9. Back onto the straight. Still a drag race. My goodness. As Crichton's been overtaken by Leo. Leo is into P4. So Leo, he wants to get a move on. Oh, that's tight between the two cars. And understandably so. Leo and Spicy are on medium compound tyres. So they really need to get a move on now. So, oh, tight here. Tight.
And Ford has made a difference already in Sector 3. He's over 1 second away from Izzat.
Yes, he's making
1.3
his strategy work. Oh, as Bags tries to send it down the inside of Luke at the final corner. And down the main straightaway we go. It's a drag race. Alpine versus Ferrari. And it appears the advantage goes to the red team. Into turn 1 we go, though. Luke tries to fight back. Through turn 2, Bags with the inside line, spins out! Oh no! That's the curb. That's the curb at turn 2. That inside curb. It's nasty. It is really nasty.
It is. It definitely is.
That's unfortunate because that battle was looking interesting between Luke and Bags and Game said no. Game said no. What can you do? Now,
Leo is attacking Vengeance.
Here we go. Down the inside. Oh, and leaves the door open. Contact! Off the road goes Vengeance. Clumsy. Like, Vengeance sort of left the door half open, half shut. Leo, he sort of forced him off and sort of did it. It was very clumsy. I think if one of them played the aggressor, like if one of them really shut the door or really sent it into the corner, I think there wouldn't have been contact. But because both drivers were sort of 50-50 about it, they made contact.
Yeah, I think Vengeance just went to the right just to avoid major contact because he had no space left. I think Leo just misjudged the braking point a bit, just understeering into the exit. But in the end, it was in the end clean, quite clumsy, but in the end it was nothing major. Racing still.
Quite right.
That's a slap for Ford.
Yeah, as expected. Clear air, medium tyres. He's flying like a bat out of hell right now, and he's got 2.5 seconds over Izzat Kush. These drivers are going to have a really hard time trying to catch up. 40, he's been on excellent form as of late. He's just looked on top of his game. It was really demonstrated.
Oh, Vengeance in a big moment. And Crichton is all over him.
Here we go. Down the straightaway, Crichton trying to draw alongside, trying to get a side draft heading down the Mistral straight. He's got the inside line, wheel-to-wheel contact between the two cars, but there we are. Crichton getting through, Vengeance down to 5th. See that Crichton a lot more assertive down the inside. He really sent it in, and here comes Spicy on the attack. Down the inside, heading through turn 10 towards turn 11. And Spicy is through into P5. Vengeance tries to fight back. He runs a bit wide, but he keeps P6, although Darren 11 is right there. Into turn 12, Darren tries to send it down the inside. He gets to the apex, or it's tight. But they both get through. Vengeance keeps P6.
And now for Crichton, it's going to be key to catch Leo and try and get this DRS. That will be key for him. Leo's got DRS on Izzat, which means Crichton is going to lose a bit more at straight, but let's see.
Down the inside goes Darren 11 at turn 1. Contact again. Vengeance is being a punching bag right now. He's getting served up left, right and centre from all these guys. Contact again at turn 3 and around goes Vengeance. Yeah, he was getting fed up, I reckon. He was trying to stick his nose down the inside of turn 3 saying, hey mate, I don't appreciate all the contact you've given me. And Darren didn't really acknowledge his existence. He just turned in at the apex and around went Vengeance.
Yeah, I think when Vengeance was struggling since last lap, he also had no battery basically. So he was gonna be a sitting duck anyway on the straight, but yeah, it wasn't really not the best racing I've seen so far in this tier, but yeah, maybe the drivers will shut my mouth up with some good battles later on.
We'll find out sooner or later, Marco. We've still got plenty of laps to go in this race. It'll be interesting to see how these strategies pan out, because we do have a decent mix. As I mentioned before, we got 5 drivers on mediums, one of which is Spicy, the man I'm looking at on screen. And everyone else is on the hard tyre. Now, depending on whether we have a safety car in this race, it can drastically affect how successful your strategy is. As I mentioned during the formation lap, if there is an early safety car, Vengeance has retired in the pit lane, so that sort of reaffirms the fact that he was very frustrated just being pushed around on the circuit. I would be too if I was behind the wheel trying to battle those around me and getting forced off. It won't be a great feeling. But he's elected to retire, and we're down to 13. Now, 40's driving away, isn't he?
Yeah, 47's away. Yeah, it will be around lap 6 or 7 that the mediums will match the hards in terms of pace. So it's not gonna. There's not much time left. Oh, someone's gone, I think. What happened?
Don't know. But we had a few people battling for position. I think Wogboy overtook Luke. I think Vision got by Hillez, I think. And Vengeance has understandably left the session. His AI has parked up in between turns 2 and 3. Around turn 11 we go. You can see Luke trying to keep up with Wogboy. 0.4 of a second separating him and the Alfa Romeo. Out to turn 12 and around turn 13. Up towards turn 14. Vision closing in little bit by little bit. Hillez just behind it. Then Paul Bags 7.4 seconds behind that pack. Needs a bit of luck to go his way. Right now the entire field is a Ferrari sandwich. We got one at the front of it and one at the end of it. A very big Ferrari sandwich. So now, yeah, is that not making any inroads? 40 still has pace. Lots of wheel spin there from Izzat. You can see the carpet of rubber he was laying down at the exit of turn 5 as he heads down the Mistral straight. Leo will be closing in. Now, it was 6/10 at the beginning of the DRS zone. It's now 2.5. So you can gain about 3.5 tenths using DRS down that straightaway. It's quite a lot you can gain. And you can see Spicy, he's battling as well. So the two McLarens, they're getting ready to try and scrap. As Spicy is all over the back of Crichton. Crichton looking a bit vulnerable here. Spicy, though, unable to find a way by. Coming out of turn 11, heading towards turn 12. Spicy won't be close enough to attack here. At turn 12, you can try and dive it down the inside, as we saw on one of the earlier laps. You can send it down the inside. I think it was Darren and Luke. But you have to be very committed, and you need a nice run out of turn 11. Otherwise, you're just not going to make that move stick.
And Crichton is getting closer and closer, but still over that 1 second range.
Yeah. That critical 1 second range, we talk about it a lot. It's incredibly important that you get DRS. Because when you don't have it, you're so screwed. As speaking of screwed, Wogboy has spun.
And there's some damage. I think I saw some flaps going on the off-road. Okay.
Well, Wogboy doesn't have any damage from what I can tell.
It's Vision. It's Vision. Vision has got a missing end plate.
Good spot. Yes, he does. So perhaps Vision and Wogboy made contact at turn 1. Maybe Vision was on the inside of Wogboy. That's why his right hand end plate would be missing. And Wogboy got spun around, potentially.
Yeah.
But he'll have to pit. And the really bad thing, he's on the hard tyre.
Oh, Leo's had a big moment here, spun.
Oh dear.
He spun. He was trying to overtake his head around this long spoon right-hander, but he lost the car. Maybe he just outbraked himself.
So there wasn't any contact between the two
No. There was no contact. I think Leo just went for the outside and lost basically grip and spun by himself. I didn't spot any contact. Yeah, way too aggressive, I think.
That's fascinating because you don't often see that. As Vision, as predicted, is coming into pit lane to get that front wing fixed. And now that means Izzat's got a bit of a cushion between himself and Crichton. Now, can he pull away, build a margin, or will Crichton be able to close in? The gap's still sitting at about 1.3 as they head around turn 6. Now up towards turn 7. In fact, the gap's increased just a little bit by about half a tenth or so. Now starting to shrink once again. But no, we've all been in this kind of situation where you're so incredibly close to getting DRS, but you can't quite get within it, as Luke has spun at turn 6. He rejoins, but down in 12th place.
Yeah, and for now I think we are starting to see the mediums drop a bit, because Spicy actually lost DRS. Now he's gained all the time back, but he actually didn't have DRS on the back straight, maybe because of Crichton's better exit on better tyres right now. And Crichton is really close to get the 1 second. No, he can't.
Yeah,
Still can't.
It seems that Izzat has got the measure over Crichton right now. Crichton doing his best though to try and catch up. Down the main straightaway towards T1. Still doesn't gain enough time. So yeah, Crichton's a bit stuck.
Yeah, he's a bit stuck. And another strategy that can work out is actually a hard to soft strategy, which maybe some drivers can try and make if they see that the hards keep consistent pace. We'll see. I know Crichton is an undercut guy, but
yeah, he might try and overcut and try and pit onto the soft tyre if he wants to take that sort of gamble. But it appears right now, yeah, I don't know what he can do. I mean, in terms of battery, what has he got? He's got 30-odd%. Spicy's got a similar amount. So does Isaac Kush. In fact, yeah, almost everyone in this train has the same amount.
9 temps away now. 8 temps.
Pushing hard. Can he stay within that 1 second range through this section? Heading up towards turn 12.
Ooh. Wiggle.
Yeah, the gap increases. Back to 8. Now back to 9.
Should make it. Yeah, it's made it.
Alright. I don't think Spicy will get any. I think he was outside of that 1 second range.
Yeah, he won't get one. He won't get DRS.
Ooh, okay, interesting. So Crichton, he'll get a bit of a speed boost down this main straightaway thanks to DRS. Spicy, though, he's able to keep up. Still only 1 second behind the Mercedes driver. Up towards turn 3. The gap sitting now at 7 tenths through turn 3 into turn 4. Now around turn 5, the gap is now increasing between Spicy and Crichton. Spicy might be a little bit vulnerable to Darren behind as they head around turn 7 and back on to the Mistral straight. DRS open. Crichton, he'll gain about 3/10 here, I'd imagine. Yeah, he's gaining plenty.
Even more.
Oh. That's DRS for you.
Yeah, that's DRS plus, I think, a rocket ship in terms of downforce. Or maybe compared to EZ. It always looked like Crichton was losing a bit of time in Sector 3. But I think the time he gained on this DRS zone, like, it's just a statement of what Wings is running right now.
Yep. He's got a bullet train in a straight line, and he's trying to drive the thing as best he can through the corners with the lack of downforce it has. So, he's got a setup that's more ideally suited towards the race rather than qualifying.
Yeah.
Here we go. We gain a little bit here. Not as much as what you can gain down the Mistral straight, but he will gain just a little bit. Up towards turn 1. On the brakes, down to 4th gear. Back on the accelerator, 5th gear at the apex of turn 2. Using all of the curb, he was very wide there. Might have copped a warning, not sure. Into turn 3. Around turn 4. Towards turn 5. 40 meanwhile. There he is at the top of screen. Just saw him briefly. He's heading down the straightaway. He's a long, long way in front. Around turn 7.
He's vulnerable.
Here we go. He's going to have to gain half a second. And he's gaining. Wow, he's gaining. That is a fast car.
Oh my goodness.
He closed in by half a second.
Yeah, I just told you that. I don't know if it's his running a bit more downforce than usual or just Crichton using a rocket ship at the moment. But yeah, that's astonishing. Like, he's gained such a big time in the DRS zone.
Insane. That car's fast. That car is fast. Down the straight.
The driver is fast as well, let's say that.
That too. But all the driver has to do on a straightaway is hold down on the accelerator as Darren... Is that Darren? No, Spicy's in as well. Yeah. Plebs is in too. So we've got hard tyres for Ford. So he has to do 16 laps on them. Plebs in. They'll be all pitting in for hard compound tyres. Leo stays out because his teammates in the middle of pit lane. Doesn't want a double stack. He's got Hillez for company as I speak. So what does Crichton need to do here? In this, he's now in the lead. He's got clear air in front. Does he just drive like hell? Try and drive as fast as possible? Or
yeah, just watch. Izat has just gained 1/10. Just 1/10 having DRS. Yeah, okay. And, well, if I was Crichton at this moment, I would just stay out and see what Ford does with Hillez and Leo, because in the end there's traffic. Leo will pit, but I don't think Hillez will, because he's on hards. So I think Crichton at this moment can still gain something. He will gain on this lap, of course, because Ford has now cold tires. But when he gets stuck in traffic with Hillez and maybe Leo, that could be really, that could help Crichton a lot.
Yeah, I agree. It'll be interesting to see how it all pans out towards the end, and how much of a benefit that 7-second gap was to Ford at the beginning of that stint, because he just drove away from everybody in that opening part of the race. No one was close to his pace. Now it's time for those towards the front to really get a move on. Try and close the gap to the race leader. The provisional race leader, of course.
Yeah.
Crichton unable to pull away, but as you mentioned, down the long straight, Izat wasn't able to close in by a great deal, even with DRS. So I don't think Crichton will be too worried about Izat behind. He just needs to keep his eyes forward and push. Try and get good lap times out.
Yeah, for example, he just used some battery at the beginning of the DRS zone, and he still gained time, although Izat was had his wing open. So I don't think Crichton needs to think about Izzat too much, unless he makes a mistake. A mistake, of course, in the slow sections. But knowing Crichton, I don't want to jinx him, but it's quite uncommon to see Crichton make mistakes. And it happened already once this season, so I think we've had enough of it.
Yeah.
And yeah, and Ford now is closing in on Healers, 1.2 seconds away.
Leo, if I was in your position, I'd be praying for a safety car too, mate. Unfortunately, I have little to no control over safety cars in this, so... All that I will mention... Actually, no, I won't. No, I'm not going to curse anyone. No, I'm not doing it, so... I'm not cursing it. I'm not going to be blamed for somebody's accident because I said something. So, I ain't doing anything. I'm not going to say a thing. Now, we do have a battle for third going on. Ferrari Pro has been keeping up with Darren. Gap has hovered around 0.4 of a second. He hasn't really been close enough to try and attack. Let's see the straight line speed difference between the Alfa Romeo and the Williams with DRS. Heading around turn 7. Oh, look at that. Alpha.
Oh, and Ford down the inside of Villas. No, he doesn't make it. Still very aggressive though.
This is what you were talking about, Marco. The traffic. Playing a small factor.
Yeah, it's not a big deal of traffic, but still.
Oh,
someone's fun.
Yeah, had a moment at turn 6. Oh, fisticuffs galore here at the chicane. 40
nice
gets
one.
round the outside. Yeah, I agree. That was a really tidy move. Right round the outside. Next target now is Leo.
Yep, he is. I think he's gonna get him in the main straight. Should be gaining a lot in this sector. Yeah, which he does.
Crichton's in. Izzat's in. Darren's in. All coming in this time around.
Oh, Leo gets out of the way.
I think he's trying to pit. No, he's
No,
not.
he wants DRS.
Oh. Bit of gamesmanship here. Wants to get in behind. Get that. Try and keep up with 40 if he can. So he can get some DRS down the back straight away as well. Crichton has got Izzat Kush right behind him. He was
Is
very
Spicy
close.
gonna get them? Ooh, this is gonna be close. This is gonna be really close.
Spicy's going to be close with Darren. That was close between Spicy and Darren. And now Spicy, he's got tyres that are up to temperature. They're working as they should. He's going to close in on his Kush through this section. Through turn 3 into turn 4. Around turn 5, gap sitting at 1.2 seconds. But he's going to lose time down the long Mistral straight. He won't have any DRS. He's got battery, though, to spend, and he is spending it down this straightaway.
He's gaining.
He is gaining. Sort of suggesting how much wing Izzat is running. He must have a fair bit of wing on that Haas right now. Maybe he had a car that was more suited for qualifying rather than the race. It'll be fascinating to see how this will pan out now. Crichton on fresh mediums. He's got 7 seconds of clear track in front of him. You'll push. Ferrari Pro is in to get off the hard tyre. Move on to a set of mediums. Hilles pitting in as well. 40 staying out. Leo staying out for another lap. 40, he can stay out. He's already on fresh tyres. He's all good. Leo, though, definitely not good. 15 lap old mediums. Yeah, those tyres have seen better days for sure. I think he's gambling now, Leo, for a safety car or something.
Yeah. He hasn't got much to lose in the end.
Yep.
And if he can stretch that synth just a little bit more, maybe he can go into the softs.
Yep, that too. So, he has some flexibility when it comes to strategy from here on out. But he's going to lose a fair bit of track position because of his predicament. So, he needs to pray for a VSC or actual safety car to come out, try and help him out. Meanwhile, Crichton Gap to the leader is 8.2 seconds off my basic math that I just did. I think it's 8.2.
Yep.
Yeah, it is 8.2. Good. Down the second part of the Mistral Straight. Now, for him to close in, you need to do it around 7/10 a lap or so. Maybe a bit under that. It's a lot of gaining to do with laps remaining.
Yeah, it will be really hard for Crichton.
Not only that, but also what you mentioned earlier, Marco. These medium tyres, after 6 or so laps, become pretty even in terms of pace as a hard tyre. So
Yeah.
it's not like he's going to have the tyre advantage from here to the end of the race. The tyres are going to drop off, and they'll be just as good as hards as Izzat sets a new fastest lap, thanks to being stuck behind Crichton and utilising the power of DRS. Up towards turn 3 we go. Crichton still closing in.
Crichton though gained 1.8 seconds on 40 on this lap. 1.8 seconds.
Wow.
40 just said a... Let me just check. 40 just said a 33.8 and Crichton made a 32.0, so yeah.
And it's going to close in a lot more. The Mercedes Missile has DRS down the long straightaway. He's now right on the gearbox of GeForce Leo. And Crichton should make mincemeat of his GeForce compatriot. It got tight, but they're going to get through. You can see as well, Crichton doesn't have much battery. 40 has battery. A lot. 60%.
Yeah.
So Crichton is having to drive pretty aggressively to try and catch up. As Leo, and is that down the inside and spins? Oh no. He tried going down the inside of turn 12 and it didn't work. It didn't work.
No.
Leo, a
Leo
penalty
is in
for
the pit.
speeding. Ouch.
Oh, that hurts.
6.5
think he's-
seconds is the gap now. It is shrinking bit by bit.
Let's see if Leo comes out in front of Hilles. Well, it's gonna be tight. Well, not so tight, actually. I think Hilles will get him easy.
I think a fair few drivers will get him pretty easily. I think Bags Liddell will get by. Maybe Luke? No, maybe not Luke.
No, not Luke.
There's our race leader, GeForce Ford. There's P2, GeForce Crichton. 6.3 seconds separating the top two. Yes. Crichton has got a lot of work to do. Here we go. Spicy Ferrari Pro around turn 9. Ferrari Pro gets drive at the exit of the right-hander. It's tight. The Williams has the advantage. But Spicy in the McLaren, he goes into the slipstream. Ferrari Pro's out of battery. He might be vulnerable here into turn 11. Oh, Spicy got very close. Not quite close enough, though, to get by. Out of turn 11, Ferrari Pro on fresher tyres, on softer tyres, should be able to pull away. Is that he'll be trying to close in on Darren 11. Try and keep that final podium spot alive for himself. So long as he stays within 3 seconds, which I believe is 6 seconds. Darren's got 6. So long as he stays behind Darren, he'll take a P3. Only concern would be F1 Ferrari Pro and P5 if he's able to close in on Izzat at all. They head through the opening sector around turn 5. Crichton, meanwhile, has shrunken the gap to 5.3 seconds. He's closed in by 1 whole second on that previous lap.
He's gained 7 tenths in the last lap, 33.1 for Crichton and a 33.8 for Ford. Ford seems to be really consistent though, which means that it will be more and more difficult to gain time as long as the race goes on. But it's still a big gain. Still a big gain for sure.
But if the results stay as they are, it will be a 7-point swing in 40's favour. It'll increase the gap between the top two to 24 points. It's a pretty decent sized gap, especially considering race win, that's 30. So
yeah,
40 will almost have a win in hand, but race isn't over just yet. Leader begins lap 20 of 27. We've got 8 laps to go, and Crichton has shrunk the gap to 5.1. Pushing like hell, but those tyres will eventually fall off. No one else quite in a position to battle, it seems. We got Luke within a second of Leo's. Ferrari Pro gives himself a time penalty. That will hurt his chances of finishing in that P3 position. Needs to not get any more time penalties, that's for sure. Luke
actually, where Crichton is gaining a lot is in Sector 1. He always gains a lot of time in Sector 1, and then the gap just stays the same through Sector 2 and Sector 3. We'll just check the race director just to see how quick Crichton is in the first sector compared to Ford. So on average, Ford sets 23.3, while Crichton is on average 23.1. Yeah, so he gains 2 tenths per lap over there.
Yeah.
And in this lap, actually, Ford made a mistake in Sector 1. He made it 23.5, and Crichton gained almost half a second just in that sector.
Yeah. Explains why the gap shrunk to 4.7 as Leo gets by Bags Liddell. That's for P10. It's not just over just yet. Leo does have a 5-second time penalty next to his name that he does need to overcome. 40 doing pretty well at the moment. Just managing himself, and look at all the battery he's saving. Even if Crichton can catch up with all that battery, be next to impossible to get by. So all the cards are sitting in 40's favour. He's got track position, he's got tyres that can make it, so does Crichton. He's got tyres that can make it, but their pace is eventually going to fall off, and he doesn't have the battery. The only thing that I can think of that will completely change the game and make 40's battery saving completely redundant is a safety car. That's about it. Because when a safety car comes out, everyone gets full batteries. Everyone charges up their batteries, so that will be the only thing I think that will undo 40's race is a safety car. That's about it.
I completely agree with you.
Because Ford's in control right now. He's got all this battery. He's hitting his marks, not making any mistakes. And Crichton, he's driving really well to catch up, gaining 10th on 10th. He's just not gaining enough. And eventually, 40 will just switch on the batteries and drive away. So
yeah, Crichton gains just 3 times on the last lap, which means that his tires are slowly dropping off. But yeah, I think 40 is in the end is in full control, because if he sees the gap shrinking to 2 seconds or something, then he will switch his battery on, and it will be safe towards the end. Should be, at least.
Interesting development is that Kush has now gotten a 3-second time penalty next to his name. The interesting thing about that is that although he can still take P3 because Darren's got 6 seconds, Ferrari Pro is now back in the game. He's 1.1 seconds behind, but he too has 3 seconds worth of penalties, just like Izzat. So they could genuinely battle for position for what could be the final podium spot. Leo getting by Vision down the long straightaway. He's into P9. Meanwhile, Crichton, the gap sort of stagnating. It's sitting at about 4.5. It hasn't decreased, hasn't increased really over the course of this lap. And 40, I guess, is now starting to use some battery because he's now down to 60%. Last time I saw him, he was on about 75, so he is now starting to use his battery, and yeah, it's keeping Crichton at bay. So
yeah, they've pretty much done the same lap time on this lap. 3.4 for both of them.
Ooh, Darren went very wide there at turn 2. Gee whiz. I think he got unsettled from the inside curb, and instead of trying to fight the car, he just drove it straight and used the runoff area on the outside rather than trying to continue to turn the car into the corner. Yeah, he had a moment right there. Is that closing in? But only closing in by about a tenth and a half with DRS. Isn't much just have a really high wing setup on the car. So he's just unable to close in on anyone. Except through the corners, of course, where he gets downforce, where the wings are actually useful.
Yeah. The only problem with high downforce is that, of course, it is always harder to... Oh, and Darren is gone.
Oh,
Darren's gone. Oh, no.
Exit of turn 11, down to 5th.
But still racing, though. No damage.
That's the main thing. Oh, as Hillez, he's got some company. Leo's on the back of him. Leo's on really fresh tyres. So they got plenty of grip, they got plenty of speed, and he's looking to utilise all of it around the penultimate corner, up towards the final corner. Oh, yeah, no, you don't want to send it there. DRS open down the main straightaway towards turn 1. Leo not quite close enough to challenge here into the opening left-hander. Could he try and set something up at turn 3, or probably more likely down the back straightaway towards turn 8. See here. Yeah. Whoa.
Ferrari Pro.
Yep. Down the inside he's looking. Oh, that's tied between the two cars. They get through. Now Ferrari Pro is into P3, and this is a genuine battle for the final podium spot. Ferrari Pro versus Isaac Kush. Ferrari Pro is out of battery. Isaac Kush, meanwhile, has got a little bit in reserve. Towards turn 11. Or is that closed in by a lot? Not by enough, though, to hit the car in front, thank goodness. Around turn 12. Towards turn 13. Is that as well and truly on the back of Ferrari Pro, but I think even this close, I don't think he'll get a run out of the final corner to try and challenge into turn 1.
It's gonna be... Let's see. It's quite close. Nice, he switched the DRS off. Okay.
Didn't want to go for it here. Like turn 1, it can be a bit risky to go for it. Yellows are out, it's Wogboy. Spinning out, no damage. If he got damage, I'll be quite surprised. Like, this is well and truly a tarmac lake. The barriers are a long way away. But it's not impossible to have accidents here. I know that firsthand, and I've seen that firsthand. So, it can happen. But I think with the laps remaining, Marco, we're not going to see a safety car.
No.
Oh, hello, what's happened between Vision and Luke? Both cars are off. Oh! Good catch, Luke. Vision and Luke having an accident at turn 2. And through goes Wogboy into 12th. And Luke doesn't do himself any favours by getting himself a time penalty. Penalties will play a bit of a factor in this. Ferrari Pro doing well to hang on to this final podium spot. Only half a second separate himself and Isaac Kush. He's got a bit of battery in hand. Ferrari Pro, he doesn't have much battery in hand. He only has 10%. And he's been using a lot of it. Quite a lot of it. Onto the main straightaway. Not using any battery this time around. He knows that Izzat won't be close enough to attack into turn 1 this time around. So he doesn't bother using any battery. Through turn 1. Into turn 2. Gap shrinks to 0.2 of a second as they go towards turn 3. Izzat close but not close enough to attack into the right-hander. Through the left-hander of turn 4. Into the tight hairpin of turn 5. Now around the critical turn 6. It's important that you get a nice run off here. Both cars doing pretty well. Or is that avoiding that inside curb at turn 7? Meant he lost about half a tenth heading on to the long straightaway. Into turn 8. Still not quite close enough to attack. But he does have that little bit extra battery he can try and use. Down the second part of the Mistral straight. Sitting in the slipstream. As they head around turn 10 towards turn 11. Ferrari Pro with slightly better straight line speed was able to pull away from the Haas. But now through this section, Izzat should close in. Through turn 12. See there a slightly narrower line from Izzat. Compromises his exit slightly, but around turn 13 and through 14, he's able to close in. DRS once again as he heads around the final corner and back onto the main straightaway. He'll open DRS. Use up his battery as well, just a little bit. Keeping 0.2 behind Ferrari Pro. Out of turn 2. Running wide there.
Uh-oh.
Here we go. No, not quite close enough. Oh, but Ferrari Pro, he was a bit wide at the exit of turn 3.
Struggling.
Around turn 6. Onto the Mistral straight for the final time. Can Izzat find a way by? He's using his battery. DRS wide open. Ferrari Pro covers the inside. Looking around the long way. Izzat needs to be brave. Oh, it's tight contact. And around goes Ferrari Pro. Spinning down to 4th position. Izzat has taken P3 with a move that I have no doubt in my mind will go to the stewards.
Yeah.
But there's nothing to argue about this superb performance out in front. 40, he's been in a class of his own. He'll come out to the final corner and head down the main straight away. G-Force Ford will win the French Grand Prix. Crichton did all he could, but second is the best he could manage. It means 7 extra points will go 40's way, increasing the gap to 24 between the top 2 in the championship. Is that P3? Darren 11 will cross the line in 4th. He will not hold it. They'll be given to Ferrari Pro. Spicy moves up to P5. Plevs finishes in P7. Leo will be the next car to cross the line. He'll hold 8th place. Hillez will finish in 9th. Just about, it would seem. Won't be much separating him and Bags Liddell as he crosses the line. Vision gets a 10-second time penalty for cutting the chicane. Wogboy will cross the line in P11. And next will be Luke and Vision, who's doing some donuts at turn 10. See there from the leaderboard, the man who made up the most amount of positions. It's a tie between Ferrari Pro and Hillez. So it would seem either one of those two will more than likely get driver of the day. But, as Luke, well, there you go. He gets fastest lap. Well done. Scores an extra point for himself. Not too bad right there. Vision, he'll cross the line in 13th eventually. He's not having a great time with the car right now. Now you can make a pretty solid argument for this guy right here for driver of the day. Put on a fine display, got pole position, got out in front, bolted away. He just drove a pretty perfect race once again. 40 is on form. Crichton has got some work to do. Got some serious work to do.
Yep.
Vision will head down the main straightaway to eventually cross the line. There we are, P13. Oh. Not exactly the most interesting race in the world. But it was a race nonetheless. Ferrari Pro given driver of the day. We saw that on the leaderboard. He gained the most places. Equal with Hillez at the very least. Making up 5 spots. 40. On fine form. Once again walks down the corridor of celebration. Winning this French Grand Prix in dominating style. Crichton settles for second. And Izzat will finish in a questionable third. But will more than likely go to the stewards post-race. So, the unofficial results of the French Grand Prix. GeForce Ford is your race winner, followed by GeForce Crichton 5.8 seconds behind. Isaac Kutch will complete the podium places in third. Ferrari Pro will end up finishing fourth, followed by Spicy in fifth, Darren 11 in P6. Then Plevs, Hillez, Bags Liddell, and GeForce Leo rounds out the top 10. GeForce Wogboy will finish P11, followed by Luke in 12th, Vision in 13th, and our only retirement, Vengeance. After he was being pushed around early in the race, he elected to retire. And he remains to be our only retirement from the event. Now, have you invited people in? Was that the message?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
Yep.
Give them time to join whenever possible, if they'd like to join. Wouldn't be much to talk about, I would think. Had battles here and there, but seemed like a pretty straightforward race. As you come to expect, every so often you just get a, I suppose a reality race, where it's very similar to real life Formula 1, where it's quite boring.
Yeah, it is.
It just sort of happens from time to time.
Yeah, of course the attendance didn't help either, but, you know, it is how it is.
Hello, 40.
Hello, how are we, fellas?
Hello, Mr. Ford.
Yeah, not too bad.
Not too bad.
You must be pretty pleased with yourself.
Yeah, I mean, it's as good as a race can go, I reckon. Probably not the most exciting, but it gets the job done.
No, that's right. But every so often you get one of those races, and sometimes you just have to appreciate the driving rather than the action out on track. It happens.
Yeah. No, you're right. It's it is what it is. I'll take it. I'm not complaining one bit.
Oh, fair enough. I mean, it was a near perfect race.
Yeah, pretty much.
Couldn't really spot. Well, I think Marco might have pointed out maybe a mistake in the first sector on one particular lap while we were doing lap comparisons.
Was that when I was in the mediums or the hards?
On the hards.
In the because of course the action on track wasn't there wasn't not so many action, let's put it this way, and we focused on the fight for the win basically.
Yep. But
I don't know where Zach is. He should be coming over, I reckon.
There he is.
Doing boys.
Hello, Zach. Not exactly what you would hope for, I would guess.
For this weekend, yeah, no, I didn't go to plan. So I've had my uni exam finished at 6:30, so I didn't really have too much focus on this, to be honest. But yeah, no, I didn't go exactly how I wanted, especially the first lap, being 4 seconds behind already.
Yeah, no. First lap was... It looked pretty clean, but it was a bit chaotic from what I could tell here and there.
Yeah, it just doesn't help having some other people around you in mediums when I'm on the hard 2. It just slows me up even more. But yeah.
I suppose we'll start the interviews because I don't think Izzat
it's going to join.
Yeah, usually doesn't. But I don't know if Izzat will hang on to P3. Again, incident between himself and Ferrari Pro on the final lap might be put to the stewards, so we'll wait and see. But we'll start with you, Crichton, then we'll make our way over to Ford. P2, damage limitation, pretty much.
Yeah, basically, yep.
Especially after what happened in Mexico, where you were the exact opposite of ecstatic about what happened.
Yeah.
But, qualifying, P4 I think you got.
Yeah.
Not happy?
It's not really good by my standards, no. But I'd say there wasn't really much I could do about it. Last run, the car just didn't hook up for me and spun out in that. But yeah, no, there wasn't. I'd say there's probably a couple of tenths in it. Not really too much more. I'd say with the laps that I'd done. So, but I don't know. I still felt like I could fight back from 4th and try and get 1st or 2nd. That's for sure. Like I knew the podium was guaranteed, even from P4.
Yep, fair enough. But no, the start, it looked pretty good initially. Like you got a pretty nice jump. You didn't get by the front 2, but you were definitely dueling for 3rd, heading down towards turn 1. But yeah, all those guys, the mediums sort of got involved, didn't they?
Yeah, mediums got involved, and like a few of the other people in hards, they just used all their battery at the start, so that kind of stuffed me up even more. Like I looked up after lap 1, I think Bailey had 4 seconds on me or something, and I was like, well, I can probably make back 4 to 5 seconds on the like on hard medium, but I was like, it's probably gonna be pretty hard for me to get that back, and then having to pass all those guys too. So I was just try and get back to 2nd place was the main thing. After that, unless it was a safety car.
Yep, fair enough. But oh goodness, I'm trying to recount events during the race.
There was nothing, mate.
There wasn't much, no.
Yeah.
I mean, you and Izzat had a bit of a melee at one point.
Yeah,
your car was a rocket ship compared to his.
Yeah, he must have been having heaps of wing on his, so I don't think that really would have worked out for him in a battle. I'd say later on in the race, I think I probably would have had him quite comfortably on wings aspects. But yeah, so nah.
You were able to close in by about half a second down the Mistral straight, and you overtook it before the braking zone.
Cleared him before then. Yeah, I think I started 6 tenths or something behind him then as well. But after Mexico, it's losing about 23 points there and stuff. I think Bailey and I would probably be separated by 1 point, but sadly it's not that way for you, Lane.
No, well, you still got races to go. So
yeah, four to go and stuff. Looking forward to Brazil. It's been I'd say a good track for me in the past, and it's just fun as well anyway. So yeah, should be around for that one.
But no, that final part of the race, were you trying to catch up if you could, or was it just your sort of natural pace on the tyre?
I'd say a little bit of both. I was trying to push, and like I saw the gap coming down, and then it probably got to a stage where I was only catching 3 tenths a lap, and that's when I just tried to turn it down a bit and save the rears and not spin out. That was the main thing. Probably with about 5-6 to go, I knew I wasn't catching, so just trying to manage the tyres and not spin was the main goal, so I could just come home second.
Fair enough. But after that start and how much 40 pulled away, it was going to be next to impossible to catch up unless there was a safety car at some point.
Yeah, exactly, and especially around this track, it's such a boring track. Straights, couple corners and that, so I knew there wasn't probably going to be much chance of me catching up. That's for sure. But Bailey's lap and quali was really, really good too. I was impressed by his 0.5. He's definitely been putting in the time.
But, Pato, have you got anything to ask Crichton at all?
Well, yeah, as Lane said, damage limitation, but anyway, GG, mate. Like, and I'm really glad to have you here after what happened last week, because I know how sometimes like things don't go your way, it don't depend on you, and it's frustrating for sure. So we all know what happened on Sunday, and we're glad to have you here. Talking about quali, it seemed like you had a rocket ship in the race where you're running really low wings, and maybe do you think that this compromised you a bit in quali, or was just a bad lap in the last run? What do you think?
Yeah, I seem to struggle in this game with the low downforce. I don't know, the feedback I get to the wheel just isn't what I've had in previous games or on high downforce. Like if you look at if you look at high downforce tracks, I either win or I'm super quick. So I think it's something just to do with my wheel settings, or just me just not doing enough laps with the low downforce. I just seem to struggle a lot, and I'd say in quali I just couldn't get the rear to hook up was the main thing. Like the front was fine, not too bad, but the rear I just had no confidence in. But yeah, I'd say that's probably the main thing. Just on low wings I seem to struggle, where as soon as you put me on higher wings, it's sort of good luck trying to catch me in the race. But no, my race pace then was really good. I was happy. Felt like if I started in the front row, it probably would have been hopefully a much better race than what it was. But not too bad.
But no, we noticed that during qualifying, especially in your final run, your car under acceleration, it looked horrible. It didn't cooperate with you at all. Ultimately. Now, was it an accident that you spun out and hit the wall, or was it an accident that you lost control and then you just chucked it into the wall at the end of qualifying?
Oh no, I was a 10th down after sector 1, and I was just trying to push a bit too hard, and probably I didn't have the same concentration, I'd say, because I knew I wasn't going to get that time back, so I kind of just relapsed, and I was just pushing way too hard there and just spun in, and But no, I didn't just spin on purpose there. That was just maybe pushing a bit too hard and kind of knowing what was going to happen, I suppose.
Yeah, no, fair enough. But no, next week we are racing at Brazil sprint round as well. So there's quite a lot of points on offer. You've already alluded to it that you're looking forward to next week.
Yeah.
What about the sprint format at Brazil? Does that sort of create more excitement behind it, or?
Oh, I'd say so. Stuff like say I get pole, then probably not. But if I don't know, qualify 3rd or 4th, then 100%. Because then it gives me a nice spot to try and start on the front row for the race. But no, it should be good. I should probably go and check if the wings are high or low. Because if they're high, then I know I'll be rapid. If they're low, then I know I'll probably have to hopefully be quick or not. But it's alright. Should be good. Looking forward to that track. I think when that game first came out, I was really quick during TT, so we should be not too shabby there at all.
Alrighty. Best of luck then for next week, but for now, congrats on your P2 finish.
Cheers, Lane. Cheers, Marco.
Cheers.
But, we'll move on to our race winner, 40. Again, mate, you look too good out there today, in control. Did it feel good out there? I reckon it would.
It felt pretty good for the most part. I'd say 95% felt pretty good. There were a few hairy moments, but overall, I didn't really need to worry about those, I don't think.
Yeah. Qualifying though. Holy mackerel. 29.5, I think was the lap.
Yeah.
Take it through it.
I already had 2 pretty good bankers down, which was always nice. You know, having a good banker means you can just kind of push that a bit more. And I knew if I got the lap hooked up, that 5 was there. And I saw just before went out on the final run, I saw Bags had gone out a little bit earlier. So I thought I'll give him a slipstream, and then hopefully he returns the favour, which he did. So that was like a 10th on the back straight. But I still needed to get everything else right for the lap, which I did. So it definitely helped. But it put me in the perfect spot.
Yeah, it did.
Always been pretty good this season.
No, your 1 lap pace has been pretty strong, and your starts are continuing to get stronger. Now, granted, you were on the medium tyre, so you did have better grip compared to everyone else, but you still made it count, and you led into turn 1. And from there, you knew your goal. I'm guessing it was just push and pull away.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, I'd say once I saw Zach started in 4th, that's when I kind of decided, you know what, I might start in mediums here to just try to break away. Because if I start on the hards and maybe the DRS was kept along with everyone, it kind of just takes away that advantage I already had. So decided to start on the mediums. Pulled that like 6 or 7 second gap by the time I pit, and a little bit of traffic, but it wasn't too much to worry about. And then that was it. Just kind of managed times, I guess, from there. I knew that the hards would hang on a bit longer than the mediums, and so even though Zach was catching at like probably a rate quicker than I was expecting. It was like a second and a half a lap for the first 3 laps, and I kind of was a little bit worried. But then it started dropping off to, as Zach said, about 3 or 4 tenths, and that's when I could just, cruise it.
I mean, in fairness, you saved plenty of battery, so you had a backup plan. So
yeah, I don't think I even touched my battery in the hard stint until that gap started. I guess it could be getting a little bit smaller, and that's when I kind of just started using a bit more, and I was setting PBs with like 4 or 5 laps to go. So the tyres held on for pretty much the whole stint, which I knew they would, and I knew that the mediums were going to drop off because I was on them in the first stint. And once they got to that 50% mark, they really started to drop off, and I think that's when the crossover point was. So I knew once Zach hit that stage, I was going to be in a pretty good spot.
Yeah. But no, I would guess throughout the majority of that, you were just in the rhythm, just nailing everything, just keeping it within the margins.
It was, I got 2 warnings when I was trying to overtake Hillers, which was a little bit frustrating because, then just it's in the back of your head for the rest of the race. And especially after Coda, I kind of learnt my lesson not to, do anything dumb with them. So, it was just getting the rhythm, as you said, and just, drive laps, I guess. There was no reason to really push too hard, and the battery kind of allowed me to just drive normally anyway, and I could just use that and still improve.
Yep. Oh, another perfect drive from you. Looking on great form at the moment.
It definitely helps, yeah.
Pato,
have you got anything to ask?
Well, what can I say? It's Domination Nation again. We didn't talk or see you a lot through the race, which from a driver's point of view is always good, because it means that you're leading, you're out of trouble, or you're in the lead by miles away. Well, 29.5, mate. That's a TT time. Like, I know you got a slipstream, but like, talk us through that lap, because again, was something, an incredible effort anyway.
I think it was actually quicker than my TT time, so I don't put too many laps in TT, I prefer it in quali. But as I said, the car was hooked up quite nicely, and once you kind of got an understanding how to drive it, it had a little bit of oversteer to it, but if you're patient enough on the throttle, a loose car is quicker anyway, so it's about as loose as I think I could get it without, getting scared every lap.
Alrighty.
Had the confidence in the car, and the lap hooked up. So
yeah, that's exactly what happened, I think. Yeah.
But one final question for you. Next week we're heading over to Interlagos for another sprint round of the championship. You do pretty good at sprint rounds.
See if the form can continue, hey?
Will it? How do you feel?
I hope so. I think the sprint round's the only thing I have going for me next week, because I know Zach likes Brazil a lot, so it could be one of those races where it might just be damage limitation as Zach had to do today, but thankfully we've got like quite a few points in hand now, obviously, and the pressure's on him to do stuff. So I think if it's P1 or P2 next week, I'll be happy, obviously. I think that's just going to be the goal, because it's a bit closer in quali. I know it's short track, so it's always competitive. But definitely have to probably do some practice for it. It won't just come naturally.
To be honest, I think everyone likes Brazil. I don't know of anyone that doesn't like it.
Exactly.
I don't.
You don't?
I don't like driving it, but it's one of the most goated tracks in real life. In real life, I love it.
See, I have a very similar relationship. Like, I adore the circuit. Track doesn't like me, though. Track does not like me at all. But I genuinely believe it is the best racetrack on the calendar. In terms of the racing quality, there's not many that come close in terms of consistent, exciting racing. So next week is going to be very interesting. But for now, congratulations, Ford, on winning the French Grand Prix.
Thank you very much. Cheers, Meg. Cheers, Marco, as well. Thank you.
Might be the last one for some time, too, depending on what Plebs chooses for next season. Because as of next year's game, we will be saying adieu to Circuit Paul Ricard. It won't be on the calendar. So, might be in the game, but it won't be on the calendar. So, we get Qatar with LaSalle and the
Las Vegas.
Oh, they recently gave it a name. Las Vegas Strip Autodrome. That's what it's called. So, not exactly the most imaginative name in the world, but it's a name. So be it. But I'd just like to say as well, thank you, Marco, for joining me here. Your help is once again very much appreciated.
Always a pleasure.
I think with the race and everything else finally over, it's time for us to end the stream. I've been Lane Avingham, my co-commentator as always is GeForce Pato. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you next week for round 12 of the championship at Autodromo José Carlos Pache for the Brazilian Grand Prix. Until then, it's goodbye.